Now it's time for the most awaited Q&A session. I'm sure our partners attending the session must be having very good takeaways from the distinguished speakers. In case your questions could not be answered during the chat session, we will take them up offline and you can reach out to Team VAR India to get your queries answered. Our team is available at our booth. Please visit our booths and we will be happy to address your queries.
Can I have the questions from the audience? Bhavesh, how are you looking at the India business is concerned?
So we are totally channel focused in India. Savex is our distributor. We've got all of our SKUs, our part numbers all lodged into Savex. We also have funded heads inside Savex, right from pre-sales technical, sales personnel, to also technical heads that can actually onboard any partner anywhere in India because of the depth and reach of what Savex has got in India.
Okay, wonderful. So when you talk about your product Hyperconverse, who is your nearest competition in the country?
Well, I think it's not just the country. I think it's globally. We all know the major players are like Nutanix and VMware are our major competitors. But of course, what differentiates us from the rest is our stack is built on Microsoft platform, and Microsoft, from a Gartner quadrant perspective, are now actually in the visionaries quadrant. So all Architect is doing is tapping on the Microsoft platform to enhance and enable its partners and its ecosystem.
Okay. Nilesh, can you explain that how are you seeing, because there is a huge growth of data centers in the country. Okay. So many OEMs, they come out with DCs and you have also emerged as the largest player. How you are seeing this? Don't you think that there will be overcapacity of the data centers in the country?
Okay, Deepak, what you're saying is absolutely right. There are a lot of players which are entering into the Indian market. Now, if you see from data center perspective, it is not just the building itself or the infrastructure which is there, but the efficiency of running the data center. And at the same time, you have to make it affordable. So what
Yes.
we have done is that we have taken a lot of pain, in fact, as well as a lot of technology we have taken for building renewable energy. As I said in my presentation also, that we have our own in-house, in fact, power generation company. So the PUE part, which is the most critical, the power part which is there, we are giving 1.4 PUE. Okay, so that's the lowest. So eventually for the customer, there's a direct saving just by moving from an existing infrastructure, close to about 15 to 20% just on the power itself.
Mhm.
So these things are actually going to help, in fact, and take us to the next level.
Okay. So wonderful. So I have a question for Asim. You have the what's huge number of OEMs, like starting from the hardware to software, and you have the sorry, you have the Tableau and you have other vendors. How you are managing the partner ecosystem so very well?
Thank you, Deepak, for the question. Atul covered in his presentation on the cloud part, the idea of having the vendors with us is to be able to reach out to the channel partner ecosystem and give them options when they in turn reach out to their customers. So when a channel partner typically goes to his customers and tries to talk of some solution or address a business issue of a customer, he should have options in all the blocks. You should have an option in video conferencing. You should have options on backup as a solution or infrastructure or ERP or CRM. And that has been our endeavor to build a complete portfolio wherein it basically becomes a one-stop solution for the channel partners, and the customers start viewing channel partners as their solution provider as well. So that was the entire endeavor, and that's the reason why we have selected carefully, and after a lot of considerations, partners like Yota, Qtech, or Edgelate, and we also have partners like Bamboo, which we have just finalized last week. So the idea is to fill in the gaps which we feel are very essential for any customer to be able to complete his journey from on-premise to cloud and filling those gaps from the solution perspective. So we that's the main logic behind getting this alignment in place.
So how big is your partner ecosystem?
Well, overall, if you ask us, then we have north of 7,500 partners who transact with Cyvex on an active basis. There might be many more partners who would have done one-time transactions or may be dormant, but 7,500 partners across the breadth and length of India is what we have as an active. From that, the relevant partners which will be relevant from the ecosystem of cloud or commercial business would be in the range of north of 1750 odd partners. And this comprises of global SIs, Indian SIs, a lot of large value-added partners, and even smaller partners in smaller regions, in tier 2 and tier 3 or tier 4 cities. The advantage that Savex has is because of the reach that we have. We cover more than 107 cities in India with physical presence, and along with the partners who are based out of remote locations, we have data that we have built more than 800 cities in India. So that's the kind of strength that we have.
So we have a question for Nilesh, like when you select the partners, what kind of partners you select so that they can give a good business to you?
So one is that a lot of partners have an existing set of customers which are there, and they nurture that customer base itself year on year. So we'll be having that set of partners which are large enterprise partners which are there. In terms of, in fact, if you talk about overall reseller base, we'll be looking at major metros to start with in the first phase. The second phase will be non-metros, and at the same time B and C class cities. So we have consultants which are there, which we have been focusing with Savex, who will be doing a lot of consulting business, in fact, with the customer. We are also engaging with a lot of, in fact, software development companies, ISPs, who have their own infrastructure needs. And today, Deepak, if you see most of the partners which are there, they have their own in-house infra also. Like Savex has their own infra. So that's a captive business also which we are looking at, plus alliances.
Okay. So I have a question for Mr. Darne. How do you spell Darne?
It is Dharani.
Darne. Okay.
Yeah.
Now tell me how you are doing business for AirSled. What is its USP?
So, first of all, thank you for giving this opportunity to come on this forum and answer the questions. So, talking about AirSlate, if you see with this pandemic coming up, there's a huge amount of opportunity that cloud has started gaining up. But if you see the number of or the applications that are most been looked after, digital signature is amongst the top three or one of the top most priority that a lot of organizations are starting to adopt. And with Airslate, the product is called Sign now. We are seeing a huge potential in Indian market today, and yeah, it gives a complete flexibility to our partners also to sell these licenses in the end customer community. That gives them flexibility with this pandemic situation, getting physical documents from A location to B location, get them signed, etc. It's a task, and with Airslate, it gives them flexibility in terms of getting it signed digitally. It has a lot of security. So Maji today on the call covered a lot of features that Airslate offers as what competitors are offering. And also the pricing is one of the best part that Airslate has behind it.
Wonderful.
So we see
Asim,
huge potential for us.
yeah. Asim, I'd like to know like how the Wembu technologies will bring a good opportunity for the ecosystem of the OEMs you have selected in under the Savex platform umbrella, I would say.
Yeah, thank you, Deepak. So what we've seen is, and this is a challenge which we have because of the fact that the way we are structured across India, where a lot of our focus, a lot of our business comes in from the tier 3 and tier 4 cities or tier 2 cities, where typically the requirement of the customers might not be very large, and at times, like if I were to pitch in Toyota to that customer, it might become a impediment because of the fact that at this point of time, of course, Toyota is planning to add a lot of services, and uh, the services that they add will be really world class ones. But as we speak, as of today, they are in process of adding them slowly and slowly. But what happens is we see a lot of opportunity coming in from these cities which are smaller ticket size, wherein maybe a Yota might not be able to fit into that particular segment. But
Okay.
with Wempo, all of these solutions, all of these issues of backup as a solution becomes much more addressable. The other part of this conversation comes in from the fact, and Pankaj covered it in his presentation with while he was he was a speaker, is that everything right now revolves on data. So there's so much of data that we have that we need to manage, control, backup, and archive. That at times it becomes very difficult to do that. And Bamboo is one such platform where it can actually back up data across platforms. It can back up data across equipments, all kind of equipments which are there, and it can also back up data across solutions. So it gives a complete overall backup plus manageability of actually being able to use the data when it's required. So one is backup as a service, the other one is DR as a service, because that's very critical. You could have a lot of backup with you, but are you able to ensure business continuity when things go down? And that's where I think Wembu would add a lot of value to the
Good.
customer.
Thank you, Asim. So this is the hair grown you have done post-pandemic or pre-pandemic?
Yeah, it's post pandemic, and it's basically comes from the fact that very lazy to go to a salon and get myself groomed.
Okay, wonderful. Now we have a question for Pankaj. Pankaj, you told about huge customer base. I'm excited to know how you managed to have such a huge customer. What is the USP behind this?
So actually, Deepak, it's very simple here. I think our customers are far smarter than all of us put together on this call, right? So if you are able to solve a problem, there are people who are ready to consume the technology. And I think Indian customers are probably one of the most discerning customers worldwide. They really know what their challenges are. They are great negotiators. All of us face them every day. But I think from a need assessment standpoint, they're the most discerning customers, and it's logically so because if you see uh, the way the Indian environment grooms all of us, diversity is a very integral part of our daily lives. Even going from point A to point B to wade through the traffic, we have to go through a lot of challenges. So I think our mentally we are a very switched on community as customers. So simply speaking, we had a product which probably is serving a very pointed need. It was delivering delight as soon as the customer adopts it, and that with that coupled with the Tableau community that we have, which is quite a big community, it became a default software for data analytics. And honestly, in there are some markets where today it's being used as a verb. So it's like Xerox, Tableau. Why don't you Tableau this data, right? So it's being used as a verb today. That's the beauty about the software. It does deliver value to anyone, right? So it's not to your IT department. If you use Tableau, you will be pleased. So that's the reason we were able to get customers hooked onto it.
Thank you. I have a question for Bhavesh. Like, who are your target verticals in India, Bhavesh?
Well, pretty much anyone who wants to consume what I call platform, hybrid, and cloud. So, for example, it could be a enterprise customer who wants to have VDI either on their premise or in Nilesh's data center, for example. We have the automation to be able to spin up and deliver that solution at breakneck speed. But also importantly, to add to that, we have this feature set that allows you to integrate with Azure services and Office 365, which is quite an integral part of everyone's work life these days. I mean, 60 to 65% of the services consumed these days are Microsoft services, whether we like it or not. So that's typically what we bring.
Wow, wonderful. So it is a wonderful session today, and I would like to thank all the participants. On behalf of Cevex, really organized the channel power and channel empowerment session along with the OEMs Acelet, Acutech, Tableau, Checkpoint, Bamboo Technologies, and Yota Infrastructure. And I would like to thank all the panelists who joined the session during the Q&A session. And thank you very much. And we'll
Thank you
move
so
forward
much,
to the
Deepak ji.
next
Thank
session.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Deepak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.